All right, today we're going to talk about coming out of hiding. That's all about recovery is hiding. We're hiding stuff from ourselves, from the world. We throw layers around it of protection so that we don't see it. Nobody ever sees it because we can't handle the pain of feeling the parts of us that we hide. 12-step programs. What's the first thing you got to do when you go in there? You got to come out of hiding. Hi, my name's Joe. I'm an alcoholic. Hey, Joe. That's it. I am ashamed of something. I walk into a room of strangers. I tell them what it is that I've been hiding, and they thank me for sharing. It is a bizarre experience, and that is a safe world to go into to come out of hiding. But we had to come out of hiding to ourselves first before we come out of hiding for anybody else. Admitting to yourself your shortcomings, going into those painful feelings that they produce, those body reactions that you get when you start to face your truth and your reality. See, if you grew up with abuse and trauma and you've been carrying it your whole life has been managing these bad feelings, these body feelings, these bad thoughts, the self-hate. We don't want to go back in there. We don't want to go anywhere that's going to make us feel worse than we already do every day walking around in normal life. But to come out of hiding, you have to go to those deep, dark places that you don't want to see, that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to shine a light on. You cannot recover without going inside, without uncovering what happened and exposing yourself to yourself. See, so much of my life was just living a lie. I didn't know it. I just had all these things happen and I built layers of protection around me, like a false self. I became what I thought I needed to be, not to have people look at me in a way that I didn't want to be seen. I didn't like the way it felt. So I created a persona and I lived that. And I thought that was my identity. I would swear to it up and down that that's who I was, but it was a lie. And when you have to go inside and you have to admit yourself that you were full of shit, that you weren't being true and that you weren't being authentic, and really truly what I was being was a coward because I was afraid of my own feelings. I was afraid of people looking at me negatively. We have to come out of hiding and you have to start with yourself. You have to start admitting to yourself all the ways you are living inauthentic. And that is going to produce powerful feelings that you're not going to want to face. And you can't get to the bottom. It's a layer upon layer process. We just start slowly peeling them away. And it is so extremely painful at the beginning, but it will get easier. Facing your truth and facing your reality. See, I would put myself in situations and places where I was kind of like a little bit higher up, like I felt a little bit like a star. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was talking about. I was confident with it. I was confident in my world, right? That my little world. But it was all bullshit because it was just this little world. My life was like a funnel. It started out very wide at the top and it narrowed down to just this little part of that funnel. And that's where I lived. The world is real big and I'm living in this small little world and I was this big fish in a little pond and I felt safe and secure there, but I wasn't happy there. And I had to realize that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. I wasn't as confident as I thought I was. Like I had to pull down that ego. I had to strip it down to nothing where I had to see, I have no value. I feel like I have no value. So I live in places where and I gravitate towards places where I feel like I have value, where people look at me the way I really needed to look at myself. But it was all bullshit because it was just such a small little world. And I kind of gravitated towards that always. And I would stay far away from any place where I didn't feel confident. And that's probably 99% of the places on this planet. So going into places you're not confident, experiencing things that you're not good at. Going into places where you know what you're doing is so easy. It's going to those places where you don't know what you're doing, where you don't have that sense of self and that self confidence that you start to gravitate towards and you move into. You have to expose yourself to yourself. Find out the truth of who you are. Where do you go? Where do you gravitate? Where do you hang out? Why? Why are you there? Are you getting something out of it in your soul, or is it just feeding your ego so that you don't have to feel the bad feelings you feel about yourself? Come out of hiding. That is the beginning step. That is the step that you're going to go throughout the process. It is constantly uncovering the falsehoods that you're living. There's a point. It's like walking uphill with 1,000 pounds of emotional weight on you. And as you're walking up this hill, you uncover a layer and you find out the ways that you're not being authentic and real. And you start to drop the parts of your false self and you get lighter. And climbing up that mountain gets easier and easier. And there's a freedom as you get closer to the top. I would spend hours obsessing and writing and meditating and trying to get to the bottom, where what I should have been doing was just accepting the layer that came, that my subconscious was screaming at me to pay attention to, but I was ignoring it. I was trying to do things outside of my capability, where I had to strip myself back to also, like, you look at an infant, when they're learning something, they have this wonderment and they're not worried about getting it perfect. They have this curiosity about it. You know, as an adult, you don't want to walk around saying, I don't understand, I don't know. I mean, if you're feeling that bad about yourself, you don't want to put yourself in places that are going to make you feel worse. But that's what we have to do. We have to go to places where we feel worse. See, we feel really bad over here. So we're spending a lot of time over here and we're pretty much ignoring the fact that this even exists. You ignore this long enough, and it's going to start to slide over into those good feelings, the things that you did that made you feel good, that covered up the pain that was over here. We have to shift all the way back and start living with those bad feelings to heal, because the fear of going there keeps us running. It keeps us not present in the moment, and it keeps us from knowing who we really are. Get into the pain, get into the emotions, get into the truth of who you are. You're so worth it. Have a great day.